They rose to power. They built wonders. They shaped history. And then they fell. From the world's first cities in Sumer to the island palaces of the Minoans, from Rome's legions marching across Europe to the golden temples of the Aztecs. For thousands of years, great empires have risen only to collapse into dust. Some were destroyed by war, others by famine, plague, betrayal, or the wrath of nature itself. This is the story of 12 fallen societies, how they conquered the world and how they lost it all. Number 1. Sumerians, the world's first urban civilization. Before the pyramids of Egypt, before Hammurabi's code, there was a civilization that wrote humanity's very first chapter, Sumer. In the fertile lands of Mesopotamia, around 4500 BC, small farming villages along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers grew into powerful city-states, Uruk, Ur, Lagash, Eridu. One legendary ruler, King Gilgamesh of Uruk, believed to have ruled around 2700 BC, became the hero of the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest written story in human history. The Sumerians invented cuneiform writing, allowing them to record trade laws and myths of gods like Anu, the god of the sky, and Enki, the god of wisdom and water. They built towering ziggurats, massive temples that served both as religious centers and symbols of political power. But greatness breeds conflict. Endless wars between city-states weakened them, and invasions by the Akkadians from the north dealt the final blow. Around 2000 BC, the city of Ur fell, marking the end of Sumer's dominance. Though gone, they left behind humanity's most enduring blueprint, the very concept of cities, writing, and organized government. Number 2. Akkadian Empire, the first empire in history. If Sumer invented cities, the Akkadians turned them into an empire. Around 2334 BC, a man of mysterious origins named Sargon of Akkad, said to have been set adrift in a basket as an infant rose to power. He conquered every Sumerian city-state, defeating even Lugal-Zag-Asi, the powerful king of Uruk. Under Sargon the Great, the empire stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean. Roads were built, trade flourished, and the first professional army marched under a single banner. His son Rimush and grandson Naram-Sin expanded the empire even further, with Naram-Sin boldly declaring himself the god of the 4 quarters of the world. But nature has no respect for empires. Around 2200 BC, a century-long drought devastated Mesopotamia. Crops failed, hunger spread, rebellions erupted. Finally, mountain tribes known as the Gutians swept in, toppling Akkadian rule. After just over a century, the first empire in human history fell, but its model of centralized power would echo for millennia. Number 3. Minoan civilization, masters of the sea. In the heart of the blue Aegean Sea, there once was a kingdom so wealthy that the ancient Greeks called them the children of Poseidon. Around 3000 BC on the island of Crete, King Minos, a figure half legend, half history, ruled from the sprawling palace of Knossos. The Minoans commanded a vast maritime trade network, exchanging goods with Egypt, Anatolia, and the Levant. Their art flourished, frescoes of bull leapers, dolphins, and priestesses in colorful robes. They built labyrinth-like palaces, inspiring the myth of the Minotaur, the half-man, half-bull monster, said to be imprisoned beneath Knossos. But in the mid-1600s, BC, disaster struck. The Thera volcano on the nearby island of Santorini erupted in one of the largest explosions in recorded history. Earthquakes shook Crete. Tsunamis smashed its harbors. The once great navy was crippled. Within a century, the Mycenaeans from mainland Greece seized the weakened island. By 1100 BC, the Minoans had vanished, leaving only ruins, vibrant wall paintings, and perhaps the seed of the Atlantis legend. Number 4. Hittite Empire, masters of iron and diplomacy. In the rugged hills of Anatolia, a warrior people rose, armed with iron and a talent for treaties. Around 1600 BC, the Hittites emerged from central Anatolia, forging a powerful kingdom with its capital at Hattusa. Under kings like Suppiluliuma, they conquered lands stretching into Syria, clashing with the mighty Egyptians. Their chariots thundered across battlefields, and their scribes recorded history in cuneiform. The Hittites mastered ironworking centuries before most rivals, giving them an edge in both war and trade. One of their greatest moments came at the Battle of Kadesh in 1274 BC, where King Muwatalli II fought Pharaoh Ramses II to a stalemate leading to the world's first known peace treaty. But in the 12th century, BC, disaster struck. The mysterious Bronze Age collapse swept across the eastern Mediterranean. Cities burned, trade routes crumbled, and waves of invaders, possibly the sea peoples, struck from the coast. Hadassa was abandoned and left to the winds. The Hittites vanished, but their treaties and ironcraft laid the foundation for empires to come. Number 5. Assyrian Empire, the Iron Fist of Mesopotamia. If fear was a weapon, the Assyrians wielded it better than anyone. From the city of Ashur around 900 BC, the Assyrians built one of the most formidable military machines in ancient history. Kings like Tiglath-Pileser III, Sargon the Seku, and Sennacherib expanded their empire from the Persian Gulf to Egypt. They pioneered siege warfare, battering rams and psychological terror, flaying rebels alive, deporting entire populations, and carving their conquests into stone reliefs for all to see. Their capital cities, Nimrud, Nineveh, dazzled with palaces, gardens, and massive libraries like that of Ashurbanipal, which preserved thousands of clay tablets. But ruling through fear breeds enemies. In 612 BC, a coalition of Babylonians, Medes, and Scythians rose against them. Nineveh was besieged and burned. Within a few years, the empire that had terrified the Near East was gone. The Assyrians left behind no empire, but their military innovations shaped the art of war for centuries. Number 6. Neo-Babylonian Empire, the glory of Babylon. From the ashes of Assyria, a new power rose, one that would make its city the jewel of the ancient world. Founded in 626 BC by Nabopolassar, the Neo-Babylonian Empire reclaimed the lands of Mesopotamia and beyond. Under his son Nebuchadnezzar II, Babylon became a wonder of the ancient world, its towering walls the legendary Ishtar Gate. And according to ancient writers, the Hanging Gardens, said to have been built for his queen Amytis. Nebuchadnezzar expanded the empire through campaigns against Judah, famously destroying Jerusalem in 586 BC and exiling its people. Babylon became a center of science, astronomy, and art, where scribes charted the stars and priests studied the heavens. But the empire's glory was brief. Internal strife weakened it, and in 539 BC, Cyrus the Great of Persia entered Babylon without a battle, welcomed by its people as a liberator. The Neo-Babylonian Empire ended, but its city's name still echoes in history, a symbol of both grandeur and the fragility of power. Number 7. Western Roman Empire, the fall of the Eternal City. For centuries, Rome ruled the known world, but even eternal empires can crumble. By the 4th century AD, the Roman Empire had split into East and West. The western half, with its capital first in Rome, then Ravenna, faced a storm it could not withstand. Borders buckled under waves of so-called barbarian invasions, Visigoths, Vandals, Huns, each testing the empire's strength. In 410 AD, Alaric and his Visigoth warriors shocked the world by sacking Rome itself. Internal crises worsened the decay. Corruption, economic collapse, and endless civil wars drained the empire's lifeblood. Armies were often filled with foreign mercenaries loyal to coin, not Rome. The final blow came in 476 AD, when the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Roman emperor of the West, the boy Romulus Augustulus. The Senate sent the imperial regalia to Constantinople, marking the end of Western Rome. But though the empire was gone, its laws, language, and roads would shape Europe for the next 1,000 years. Number 8. Byzantine Empire, the last Romans. Rome did not fall in 476. It simply moved east and endured for another 1,000 years. The Byzantine Empire, with its capital at Constantinople, was the eastern half of Rome reborn. Under rulers like Justinian Furius, it reclaimed lost lands, built the stunning Hagia Sophia, and preserved Roman law through the Corpus Juris Civilis. Its emperors from the Macedonian dynasty to the Komnenoi navigated a deadly game of diplomacy, war, and intrigue, defending against Persians, Arabs, Crusaders, and Turks. But every siege chipped away at its power. In 1204, the Fourth Crusade sacked Constantinople, crippling the empire. Though the Byzantines reclaimed their city in 1261, their strength never fully returned. On May 29, 1453, after a 53-day siege, Mehmed II of the Ottoman Empire breached the walls with massive cannons. Emperor Constantine Abbasid fell in battle sword in hand. Constantinople was renamed Istanbul, and the last remnant of Rome was gone. Number 9. Inca Empire. Empire in the clouds. High in the Andes, the Inca ruled an empire of stone and sky, until strangers arrived from across the sea. Rising in the early 15th century under rulers like Pachacuti, the Inca Empire stretched from modern-day Colombia to Chile, connected by over 25,000 miles of roads across mountains and valleys. They built cities like Machu Picchu and Cusco, mastered terrace farming, and recorded history using quipu knots on strings instead of written words. But in 1527, a smallpox epidemic carried ahead of the Spanish, killed the Emperor Huayna Capac, and his heir, sparking a brutal civil war between his sons, Atahualpa and Huáscar. When Francisco Pizarro arrived with fewer than 200 soldiers in 1532, the empire was divided and weakened. Atahualpa was captured at Cajamarca, executed despite paying a ransom of gold and silver. Within decades, the empire was dismantled. The Inca's stone roads and walls still cling to the mountains, silent witnesses to the day the clouds fell on an empire. Number 10. Aztec Empire. The fall of Tenochtitlán. In the Valley of Mexico, the Aztecs built a city of gold, and in less than 2 years it was gone. Founded in the 14th century, the Aztec capital, Tenochtitlan rose from an island in Lake Texcoco, a masterpiece of canals, causeways, and temples. Under rulers like Moctezuma Yain and Ahuitzotl, the empire expanded across Mesoamerica, fueled by trade tribute and ritual warfare. In 1519, Hernán Cortés landed on the coast, with a few hundred Spanish soldiers and allied indigenous forces who resented Aztec rule. Welcomed at first by Moctezuma, Sacandu tensions soon exploded into violence. Then came the deadliest weapon, smallpox, brought by the Spaniards, ravaging the population. In 1521, after months of siege, Tenochtitlan fell. The once great empire was reduced to rubble, its temples burned, its canals filled. Yet beneath modern-day Mexico City, the stones of Tenochtitlan still whisper of an empire that ruled for barely 2 centuries and fell in a single generation. Number 11. Ottoman Empire, the last great caliphate. For over 6 centuries, the Ottomans ruled from the gates of Vienna to the deserts of Arabia. But even the longest reign must end. Founded around 1299 by Osman II, the Ottoman Empire grew under sultans like Mehmed II, who conquered Constantinople in 1453, and Suleiman the Magnificent, who brought it to its golden age. Istanbul became a center of art, trade, and religion, the heart of an empire that spanned 3 continents. But by the 18th and 19th centuries, the Ottomans were the sick man of Europe, losing wars territory and influence to rising powers. Nationalist revolts shattered its provinces, and European rivals carved away its lands. The final blow came with World War I. Defeated and occupied, the empire was formally dissolved in 1922, replaced by the Republic of Turkey under Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. Today, Ottoman architecture, cuisine, and culture remain across the Middle East, the Balkans, and North Africa, reminders of a dynasty that shaped the world for 600 years. Number 12. Austro-Hungarian Empire. The Patchwork Monarchy. In the heart of Europe, a mosaic of languages, cultures, and faiths lived under one crown until a single bullet tore it apart. Formed in 1867 as a dual monarchy under Emperor Franz Joseph I, the Austro-Hungarian Empire was a complex web of Germans, Hungarians, Czechs, Slovaks, Croats, Serbs, Italians, and more. Vienna glittered with music and art, while Budapest thrived on industry and trade. But nationalism simmered beneath the surface. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the throne, was assassinated in Sarajevo by a Bosnian Serb nationalist. The empire's ultimatum to Serbia set off World War I. The war drained its armies, collapsed its economy, and ignited separatist movements. In 1918, as the war ended, the empire disintegrated into new nations: Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia, and more. The Habsburg crown was gone, but its palaces, railways, and cultural legacy still span Central Europe, echoes of a realm built on unity, undone by division. From Sumer to the Aztecs, these empires once ruled their worlds. They built wonders, commanded armies, and believed they would last forever. But no power is eternal. All that remains are their ruins, their stories, and the lessons they left behind. Every empire falls. The only question is who's next.